I'm Dr. Christopher Kevin Slaton. Do you know when you talk about the mind, you're talking about predetermined thought, talking about memory that has been created. And when I talk about the mind, I do it in the sense that the brain is the body and the mind is the images that are stored in memory. So they're like memory clips to me. And I say that because when you want to change a behavior pattern, you talk to the brain, not the body, not your state of mind, because that's what you want to change, your personality, your attitude, your character. Your behaviors may be predetermined by the way you interact with contact and the influences behind that motivation to encourage you to do what it is that you do. Now, I'm not talking about thinking, because when I talk about a state of mind, it's predetermined thought network, okay, that are externally influenced, like when you go to school and you're learning math, and the math is predetermined by book knowledge, and there's no thinking to do, you just respond. So it creates a state of memory, a mind state. Because if you do your research and go back and look at the concept of mind, it's not associated with the brain, it's associated with being mindful of. So you're creating channels. We're talking about man-made systems, social systems. Because I'm talking about the crisis of self, and I'm talking about how do you get yourself out of the rut that you're in when you're fighting yourself because of what happened and what continues to happen. And you want to be able to do things that are grounded in reality and not introspection. Well, I talk a lot about the inner voice. And when I say brain talk, it should be clear now that I'm talking about when you're processing, because we don't want to deal with the mind, we want to deal with the brain. So we talk about the brain and lead the body because we want that processing to occur through levels of awareness. That when you send forward feed, you're looking for physical examples, proof of your responses, so that you can understand what your brain is doing versus memory and the mind. You want to know that that response is not predetermined, that you're actually thinking through your feelings of self. I just said it. And not a sense of. You're actually moving through receive path functioning through signs of care for self. Because in school, you're receiving instruction that is not predicated upon whether you care or not, but you're a human being. And that's one of the problems with the crisis of self, is that you have to live in the real world. So when you leave a classroom and you engage in real risky behaviors, it's hard for you to comprehend your response patterns because you're trying to work from predetermined variables that don't work. The brain has to be in lead of the body. So when you respond, you have the experience of reflection, new energy, with that old energy. Now you have academics making a little more sense because you have to know how to read self, the environment, and the environment is the social elements of the influences that have impacted whatever happened to you in home, school, and workplace networks. So I'm saying to you that I'm having this conversation because I do a lot of talking about the mind, but I don't want to get into the mind, so I don't want to stray too far from the real issue is learning how to live through your brain's body. It is a memory style that you're creating where you're saying to yourself, I know I have a state of mind, but in order for me to overcome the predictability of how I behave, and we're talking about negative or positive energy, but you can get trapped because when you're responding out of predictable behavior patterns, it's easier for other people to counteract that, the crisis of self. I can't break through. I can't get through the homeschool network and build reliable relationships because I am too predictable, because I'm trying to follow what I see, mimic the behaviors that are in front of me, my mentors and examples, and everybody can see that I'm really trying hard, but I just can't break through. What are we talking about? Thinking. And if you don't know how to think through the crisis of self, then that's because the body is in the lead through your states of mind. And what you're frustrated about is the way that your mind does not allow you to take the next step. Fear, anger, frustration, being found out. Whoa, you're sticking like a sore thumb, your personality. It's a signal. Your attitude, it's a signal. Your character, it's a signal. The behavior is the ultimate signal of whether or not you're conforming or not conforming with the criteria that says I am okay in the system because I'm predictable. But you can be predictable, but thinkable at the same time. I mean, you have to be learnable. That's why I say you learn self, so that you can understand what's going on with self in relation to the social systems you have to interact through using conformity. Then you have to break through because you have to meet your own goals and expectations. You start from somewhere, you want to reach the top, but you got so much to go through. It's so competitive that your own people that you thought were on your team are actually working against you. Slow down. You're moving too fast. Slow down. Give yourself more time. You'll get here. You'll get there. You'll get there. Yeah, when you're 80, you'll get there, but that's not the issue. The issue is that the craze of self evolves through those experiences, self, other people, home, school, neighborhood. Let's look at it clearly. Clearly now, education, government, the economy, family. By the time you realize those 4 areas, you are already locked into some type of problem, situation, behaviors, because you're trying to climb the ladder. And you have to understand that you're detected by your family systems. But if you notice early on is what I'm saying, that your family matters, and that you understand that in order for you to feel the success that you're trying to acquire, your family must come along with you. So you don't leave your family behind. We're talking about the economics of self-development. You don't leave your family behind. I'm talking about when you're young, you try to bring your family along with you because it's an economic unit. So that you use the education system, you use the government platforms, you use the business economy to jumpstart personal, academic, occupational skill sets that allow you to acquire less stressful skills, process skills, when you have a network, inner network that's reliable. Because when you get there and you don't have those things, what you're searching for, how to make sense of a family, education, government, business systems that run the economy. But you got one because you brought it with you. All right, we're not telling them they got to be at the level you are. They have to be in the game, playing the game the way you're playing the game, understanding, look, we know we're learning what our strengths and weaknesses are so we can begin to realistically set these goals and objectives for personal growth, for social enrichment, so that as you go through the pitfalls, the complexities of confrontation, you don't go to the bar, you don't go to the casino, you go into your laboratory, you and your people, because you got to plan ahead. You got to stay in the game. You can't get sidetracked. You can't be spending all your money over here and trying to make it over here and falling further and further behind in reality because you're not playing the game at all. What you're doing, you're in the program. And that's your state of mind. Your state of mind, keep trying. Hey, drink this. Keep trying. Take that. Keep trying. You're saying you're falling further and further behind in reality from your sense of feel for self because you're not processing. Are you really thinking? Are you thinking? Do you really think you're thinking? That's what we're talking about. Your mind does not think. See? Now go back and look at the dictionary again, because the mind does not think. They say it does all these things in a channel of responding to the influence, social influences. So you have a predetermined way of responding. It's like, this is how we want you to think. So get with me. Don't look at the confrontational words and so forth that I'm utilizing. Understand what I'm saying is, you have to learn how to evaluate whether you're thinking for yourself or just following the program. In the 21st century, you have to be wireless. That means you have to be totally intellectual, okay? And you have to be able to respond from the inside out, not the outside in. You have to be able to process, move the information from sensing to feeling. Because listen to me, what is the first thing they turn off in school? Don't feel it, just accept it. And when you accept it, you then respond. Oh, we'll deal with that part. Oh, but you're right, but that's not the right answer we're looking for over here. So you may have done it properly from your brain, but they say, don't worry about that, pass that off. Ignore that, because this is the response we're looking for. I'm talking about channeling, states of mind, okay? That's like, forget that part, forget your brain, okay? So no one wants to talk about the brain, everybody wants to talk about the mind, because that's programmed. And they want you to be comfortable with accepting program. Why? Because you're predictable. Everything you do is in a book somewhere. It's very rare that you're able to work from the inside out and create and recreate. So this is what I'm saying to you. When you read my literature, I say, get back to the basics of you. Read, write, draw, act, perform, brain talk. See? So that your brain's the leader of the body, and you are virtually recreating sense and receive path functions through the experience of self-processing, so that you can evaluate how you change your behavior. And now you identify your personality, you identify your attitude, you identify your character, you identify because you know what good and bad is. It's not like you're gonna go straight. You're grounded. You know what you want to accomplish. You just got to learn how to do it within the context of the program. But what I'm saying is, look at it this way. As an African-American male, all my life, I've been worried about going to prison. But because I think for myself, and I still live the life, in those variables, in those trenches, but I think for myself. I've learned how to use my human system to evaluate everything I process, which is what brain work is all about. And when you do brain talk, you don't mess around with the little stuff, because you are trying to focus yourself in such a way that you have less and less breakdowns in terms of performance, because you have to continue to sense, feel, and focus the energy, because it's negative and positive. This is Dr. Slaton Live. Stay tuned.